All right. We are so excited and thank everyone for joining us today for this service provider specific information session about LGBTQ senior housing and our first project, the Pryde. So our mission, LGBTQ senior housing, seeks to facilitate access to welcoming, safe, and affordable housing for LGBTQ older adults. We want to define on-site housing services and programming that address the needs of our beloved LGBTQ elders. We want to support community space by having an intergenerational community center at the Pryde to serve people of all ages and walks of life in the greater Boston area. So to talk about the need, typical support for seniors. While many members of the LGBTQ community have strong support networks, our project seeks to define or seeks to provide this support to older adults who may not otherwise be cared for in the ways that traditional mainstream adults have long enjoyed, ensuring not only roofs over their heads, but real connection to each other and the broader community. Our state. An estimated 65,000 LGBTQ older adults live in Massachusetts, in part due to problems related to social isolation and the lasting impact of trauma associated with systemic anti-LGBTQ discrimination. Statistically, when compared to our non-LGBTQ counterparts, this population is significantly more likely to be in fair or poor overall health, have difficulty paying for housing or for food, report ever having been diagnosed with a depressive disorder, or fall and be injured. So this is what we're so excited to talk to everyone about today. This is our first community, the Pryde, located in Boston's Hyde Park. It will be 74 units that will be made available in the spring of 2024. The units will be studios, 1 bedrooms, and 2 bedrooms, all of which are pet friendly and ADA accessible. Apartments are located on the ground, first, second, and third floors, and are all accessible via 2 newly built and installed elevators. Each apartment is renovated from a former classroom and is designed barrier-free. Bathrooms are large enough to accommodate mobility devices, as are hallways. Kitchens are equipped with wall ovens in lieu of in-stove ovens for ease of access. We also have installed levered door handles and cabinet pulls to facilitate use by people with arthritis or who have other disabilities that impact their grip strength or mobility. Living at the Pryde, what is it going to look like? In our intergenerational community center, which is what we're really excited to share with our service providers in this community, the Pryde will offer daily activities and programming to engage residents and community members of all ages to promote lifelong learning, art, healthy food options, gatherings, and events. We're looking to provide outdoor activities for our building residents as well, including community gardening, bird watching, walking groups for a beautifully installed walking track we'll have in our courtyard. And we'll also be hosting annual LGBTQ events during Pryde and the holidays. The Pryde will also include a large auditorium, which will serve as a gathering space for music, theater, and resident functions, as well as a fitness center with equipment and a sunroom. So at the Pryde, honoring the neighborhood, when we asked the Hyde Park community, what do you want to see in an intergenerational community center in affordable senior housing? We were asked to commemorate the 54th Regiment of Hyde Park, one of the first African-American infantry units to fight in the Civil War. It's actually what the movie Glory was about, with a permanent exhibition space. So that will be at the Pryde in the building. And also to celebrate the Grimke sisters, who were activists for abolition and women's rights, who led a group of women from Hyde Park to vote 50 years before the 19th Amendment passed via programming, and engage with local businesses for programming and catering opportunities. So who are our future residents? These are the people who we're doing outreach for and who we're hoping that anyone in our community can get us connected to. Our outreach efforts are focused on LGBTQ people and allies so that our applicant pool is saturated with the people in our community who need this resource the most. So this is going to be our outreach, will be for LGBTQ people and allies aged 62 and up who qualify for affordable housing, are single or live with another person, do not need services required at assisted living facilities, but want opportunities to enrich their physical and mental health, are looking for connection with other like-minded individuals in their housing community and beyond its walls, and want to reside in a place where they can be their authentic selves. So defining affordable. We are working with the City of Boston's Mayor's Office of Housing, who will administer the Affordable Housing Lottery to award apartments. LGBTQ Senior Housing is an independent nonprofit, and our project, the Pryde, is born from our idea of affordable LGBTQ welcoming senior housing. But the lottery itself is conducted through the City of Boston and the Mayor's Office of Housing. The units are available for 30, 50, 60, the area median. LGBTQ senior housing is waiting on the affordable housing lottery application to be released. Our expected timeline for that application is this winter and coming very soon. We will be hosting application workshops and office hours once the application is released, and folks can request an application now to state their preference for language. That's a link we'll share in the chat. This is a tangible resource that folks can give people that they're in network with who are interested in this housing to request an application and the way they want to receive their application. So they can receive it in physical copy or digitally, and also select what language they would like their application in. So our ask, if you know of or work for an organization that could be interested in helping us spread the word to get to as many LGBTQ seniors and their allies, please let us know. If you or your network is interested in collaborating with our programming, also please get in touch with us and sign up for our email mailing list. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on our event plans, workshops, and project progress. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Our contact information will also be put in the chat. I'll stop the screen share now. And if anyone has any questions, I'll take a look at the chat. Wonderful. If anyone has any questions, you're welcome to ask now. We'll have this space open for the next 15 minutes and then likely start the presentation again for anyone who joined a little bit later and wants to hear it from the top. Yes, Jay.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing all that great information. A question about sort of levels of your programming. Are you specifically looking at varying levels of existing service partners that run programs to potentially, run programs like in the Pryde, or is there like an internal kind of like programming system that are also considering to run in-house? So just curious if you put any thinking behind that.
That's a great question. Gretchen, would you like to answer that, or should I?
No, I'm happy to do that. So hi, Jay. Thank you for being here. Gretchen Van Ness, Executive Director of LGBTQ Senior Housing. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And thank you so much for helping us get the word out. We really need your help. We expect that this will be a mix of both of those things, Jay. We know that our community, there's probably lots of things that the LGBTQ elder adults would like that may not exist right now, and we are gearing up to bring those things into existence. But we're also not going to recreate the wheel. So we will be partnering with community organizations and LGBTQ organizations and service organizations as we develop programming and services. So it's really hard to know what our residents will need until we have residents. But we do know that the community center will be very, very active, and lots of things going on in this building all the time. And we also know that some of our residents will bring services with them. And so we expect to be doing a whole wide range of things and partnering with organizations as well. Eileen Montour, our co-founder, president and board chair, has for the past 8-9 years been in consistent conversation with community organizations about partnering, the potential for partnering going forward. Is there something specific that you're thinking about, Jay, that?
Nothing specific. I was just curious about just like the model of programming in general. I'm the programming director at Haley House, and we have this great program, specifically with nutrition and cooking and classes. And what we have learned as far as our model of success is, we typically work with like young people in community at large, and like they come to us for, that level of like opportunity and sort of like training. So I'm just sort of thinking out loud as far as like, the difference of, having an internal community that you're serving and varying levels of like opportunity outreach, that if there is, something that, you identify as like a core programming piece that, you're serving, as well as that becomes kind of like a model to quote unquote sort of like sell to others, if that is something that, you like evolve with. So on the organizational side of things, we found that to be a successful way in which we've done our own fundraising around it. But then, we serve just a lot of people, and it's just a great checking a lot of like boxes along the way. So I'm happy to chat more about, just like what those like models look like, if you're interested in sharing all my secrets. Yes. So but yeah, so I just kind of curious to see kind of like what the first layer of thinking was, bringing folks inside or doing internal or a mixture of both. But you definitely answered the question, and always happy to share more.
Thank you so much, Jay. We will take you up on that. I guarantee it.
So. Yes. Looking forward to our coffee.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Does anyone else have any questions at the moment? We also put our contact info in the chat in case any questions come up after this presentation. You're welcome to email us or contact us through our website, and we'll be sure to get back to you and share any resources as well. If folks work for or are part of organizations that might want to hold onto any of our like physical outreach materials, so we have info cards that we have, also brochures and pamphlets for people to look at and to hand to others. We can absolutely be in touch in making sure that you and your organization have those to give to folks as well.
Can I also just mention again here, which you've probably heard numerous times, but 8 units at the Pryde are set aside for people who are unhoused and exiting homelessness. And so we really, really, really want to find our LGBTQ plus community members who qualify. And if you know of somebody, and it's just heartbreaking to think that any of our elders are experiencing homelessness right now, but we know that they are, and we know that shelters are not safe for them. So if you know of someone, especially in the Boston resident, we really encourage you to make sure that they are registered with Home Start or whatever agency, so that they are officially categorized as experiencing homelessness, so that they can qualify for one of those 8 units. So we're really, we'll be working with Home Start and doing a lot of outreach around this, but we know that our LGBTQ elders who are experiencing homelessness are some of the most vulnerable people in the homeless population, and we have got to reach them and let them know about this. So we appreciate whatever help you have. And if you have suggestions for other people we should be talking with to make sure that this word gets out, please let us know. We're very, very concerned about this piece. Jay, yes, I'm sorry.
I'm just curious to see if you reached out to Justice for Housing. They specifically work with populations and look for kind of placements, and a lot of it is folks that are coming home from incarceration. And they get a tremendous amount of like calls just in general about placement in housing opportunities and whatnot. So Gretchen, I'm happy to connect you with Leslie Creedle, who's
Oh,
their
Leslie.
executive
Yes.
director.
Okay, good. Yes, please do. Yes.
Yeah. So she's a wonderful human being, as everyone's here, but I'm sure there's lots of kind of like leads that are specific to the LGBTQ population that they may not be able to like serve, but they just know they exist just because of kind of like the volume of calls that they get on a regular basis. And I do know for a fact that like one of their case managers is part of the LGBTQ kind of community. So I think they'll be a champion in this cause as well. So happy to make those connections.
Fantastic. Yes, with IO as well. So that's fantastic. Good. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Sorry. I also have a question. What is the resident preference when we're doing, when people are applying? Is it kind of Boston residents? Like, what is the order of hierarchy for preferences when it comes to these units?
Yes, so 62 plus is for everyone. You have to be 62 years old. Someone in the household has to be 62 years old at the time of the lottery. And then the current Boston residence policy applies because it's a Boston affordable housing project. It's located in Boston. So that current preference for Boston residents is 70%, but we are working with leadership in the mayor's office for housing and their fair housing office to see if we can modify that resident preference, mostly because we have heard for years from our elders all over the country who have already been priced out of Boston and spent their lives here, came out here, have community here, are desperate to come back, are desperate to leave whatever isolated place they're in right now and come back to Boston. So we don't know if we'll be able to modify the policy, but we are working on that. But right now, Boston resident policy is 70% of the units.
Thank you for that. And my second question is, I guess I'm looking for a clearer understanding of, is the LGBTQ aspect more in the support and the culture of the building than the residents that are in the units? Is it more of like the culture and the atmosphere of the building as opposed to who the applicants or the tenants are?
Well, that's a good question. I think it's a little bit of both. So this is the first LGBTQ welcoming affordable senior housing in all of New England. So that's the the headline that everyone should know. But in all of our years of conversation with LGBTQ elders, most have said that they don't want to live in an exclusively gay building. And so we say we're welcoming to LGBTQ elders and our allies. So we just want to make sure that folks who are in our community who need this kind of housing know about it and know that they should apply for the lottery when it opens. And they can call us for help about all of that or drop in and things like that. But also that folks who are not members of our community would count themselves as allies and be comfortable in a place that our community center is going to be very much intergenerational programming that honors LGBTQ lived experiences and history. But it's also just going to be a community center for Hyde Park, which has very little community space, and it's going to be a senior center for Hyde Park seniors because we don't have a senior center here either. So our philosophy is that to be genuinely welcoming and inclusive, we need to be LGBTQ welcoming. So that's how we're talking about it.
Thank you for that. That was a great answer. That was perfect.
Thank you for the question.
I'm going to go ahead and put the contact us form in the chat one more time. And we'd love if everyone here could use that to sign up to get on our email list. The lottery should be open by the middle of January if everything goes to plan, and it'll be open for 6 weeks. And we really want to make sure no one misses it. We're going to be sending a lot of emails out about our information sessions, our application workshops, how to get an application. So we don't want anyone that you work with to miss that. So if you're able to sign up for our newsletter, that would be wonderful. And we'll be sure to keep you informed. The application itself is pretty easy. The application can be digital or paper, and it's basically more like demographic information. You don't need to produce any paperwork or anything at the time of application. So hopefully it's pretty easy for folks to fill out. And again, we will have a lot of sessions where folks can come and we can help them actually fill it out.
And you can call and email us anytime if you have questions. We're really encouraging people, once you see the ad and all of the rent subsidies are all established, a lot of people will say, oh, well, I earn too much to be there, but to even apply. But we're encouraging anyone who is close to definitely apply and talk with us, because there are there's an allowance for the costs qualify. It's easy. That form is straightforward.
And in just a couple minutes, I think we'll likely restart the presentation and then open the floor again to any questions. So anyone who has any remaining questions in the next couple minutes, please go ahead and ask or put them in the chat. That in the meantime, we'll just be waiting until about 1 p.m. to do this again. And we really, really thank you all again for joining us today. This will be likely the first of several service provider specific information sessions. And as our project progress continues and we have more information, this kind of information session will change in content. So we invite you all again to join us in our next one.